Alright, boys. Season 2's among us. We did the draft last night. I'm going to break down all of our teams real quick. Talk about each Pokemon on each one. Hopefully this video is not crazy long, but I've said that before. Well, I'm just not going to not going to waste any time. Let's get right into it. Alright, so I'll just start with my team. Since, you know, I feel like I got the best idea of why I drafted what I drafted. First two picks right here at the top, Darmanitan and Hoopa. I don't really know why I picked them. I saw Darmanitan sitting there at pick number 7, and I was like, you know what? I didn't think this was going to be available for me. I didn't really prep for this. So I kind of threw all my prep out the window, and I said, you know what? Give me that demon. I'm working with it. I'm just going to go full offense. Just get the MJC pattern going and run it up a little bit. So then Tommy ended up going with his two picks, and he took Zygarde with his second, so that was pick number 9 in the draft. And I was really looking at Zygarde. My original team concept was like a Mega Mawile, and then either like Zygarde or Kyurem as my first tier 2. Both were obviously available. I mean, Zygarde wasn't, but then Kyurem would have been. But I threw Mawile out the window with Darmanitan, and that also kind of prevented me from getting Kyurem as well in tier 2. So I just went with Hoopa here. I'm not super familiar with it. I didn't use it a whole lot when it was in OU back in the day. But I mean, the stats are just incredible. You got 160 attack and 170 special attack. 80 base speeds, a little bit to be desired. Really don't want to be taking any U-turns with that 60 base defense, but overall, I think if I can get some good momentum into it, maybe support it with some screens from Lele or Comfy or something, or Xatu even, Jolteon even. I got a lot of screens. I might be able to do something with it. I'll keep playing around. It has really cool coverage. Regular Hoopa down in tier 4, really great Z-move user because of that coverage, but Hoopa's awesome. I think it's going to be something that everybody has to prep for. And whether or not I even bring it each week is, I think, good enough based off of how scary it is, and that you have to be prepared for it. Because if I start throwing off choice-banded Hyperspace Furies, you're going to be a little bit scared, and if you don't have an answer for that. So, going down, I ended up picking up Slowking, and I want to say Crocodile as my next two. Those two pair really well together. Crocodile provides electric immunity for Slowking. They got the Dark and Psychic synergy as well. Makes my team a little bit weaker to Grass overall, but obviously I have a Mega Pinsir here to kind of patch that up, and I picked that up with one of my last picks. So I really like Slowking. I don't think I really reached on either of these too much. I think Crocodile is extremely useful in Draft League, especially now that it has Pursuit in this format. You know, Pursuit's going to really open up Psychic moves out of Hoopa and Tapu Lele. Being able to chip down Psychic types trying to switch out a Crocodile or something. Pinsir, even though it is bug typing, it really likes just using that flying type. You know, X-Scissor's not bad, but overall, Crocodile really supports Pinsir too. Slowking's a really good water type. I think it was my favorite water type in tier 3 for two things. It has momentum with teleport, and then it has active recovery with slack off, and it also has regenerator, which the momentum just plays right more a little bit more into that recovery. So I think Slowking was extremely good value in tier 3. Unfortunately, I really would have loved to have like a Rotom Heat on this team. I ended up not even picking up any fire type, as you can see. But Slowking gets fire coverage, which is nice, and obviously with all of my non-Gen 8 Pokemon that I have on my team, they can all learn Hidden Power. You know, everything on my team can learn a Hidden Power except for Darmanitan, so I kind of have like artificial coverage in that sense. Not too much to say about them. They're just going to be really good pivots. Crocodile is going to sometimes serve as like a defensive pivot for me with having Intimidate, and pretty good bulk overall with 95 and 80 on the defenses. Boosted after Intimidate, it's pretty tough to take down. I don't want to do that every week because it doesn't have active recovery. It's a little bit tougher to use in that sense, but it's a good rocker. It's a really good offensive presence with Moxie and Choice Scarf. I don't know if I'll ever bring Anger Point, but that's kind of cool. If I get crit, my attack it gets maxed, so could be kind of fun. I don't know. Next up, I think I went with like Comfey and Jolteon. I think those were my next two picks. I started getting kind of scared of MJC's Rain Team, and of all the grass types that were left, I was looking for something that was going to be either able to eat a Vicious Rend that was rain boosted, or be able to eat something from like Mega Swampert. Comfey cannot eat those, but it has a cool ability in Triage where it gets priority on like healing moves. So like if I go for a Synthesis or something, it gets +3 priority. That's faster than Quick Attack, Feint. That's the same level as Fake Out actually for priority brackets. So I could potentially even like get health back before I get faked out, which is kind of crazy. Other than that, it has Giga Drain and Draining Kiss, and those two moves cover perfectly for Dracovish and Swampert. So I thought Comfey was going to be my answer for MJC, because if you look at the rest of my team, I get completely destroyed by that. So I really have to keep Comfey alive during all that. Next up, oh yeah, Jolteon. Jolteon I thought was one of the best tier 4s. I really wanted another electric immunity. I thought watching last season unfold with like the Regielekis and the Xurkitries and stuff, having an electric immunity was really valuable. And Volt Absorb is really sick on Jolteon, gets some health back. It's got Baton Pass, Volt Switch, it set up screens for me. It's a cool Z-move user. It's got a good special attack off of that 110 base. It hits some really hard with like Gigavolt Havoc or a Never Ending Nightmare or something like that. So that's I don't know. I like Dodrio as my Z-move user generally, but if I am bringing my tier 4 or something, Jolteon's a good candidate for that for sure. And then what did I go with next after that? I think I went with like Xatu and Lele. I think that was the order I went in. It was either Xatu and Pinsir or Xatu and Lele. I think it was Xatu and Pinsir actually. Xatu, so I kind of had an idea I was going to go with Mega Pinsir, and Xatu, looking at my team, I only have Comfey for defog support, so Xatu not only gives me another defogger, but it has an awesome ability in Magic Bounce that can prevent hazards from getting put up on my side anyway. I don't know if anybody even drafted a Mold Breaker Pokemon in our tier, in our draft at all, so I don't think anybody's getting through the Magic Bounce with rocks. I could be mistaken, but nothing's really popping off immediately to me. Other than that, Pinsir hates having rocks up. It has a 4x weakness once it Mega Evolves. It obviously doesn't want it anyway in the first place. But I think they synergize pretty well. I'm kind of getting like a rock weakness overall in my team, but I have a lot of really fast Pokemon. My average speed tier is 93, and that's significantly faster than most rock types in the game. Now, a lot of stuff does have rock coverage, but that doesn't hit as hard, so I think it's a little bit less concerning, and I can kind of patch it up a little bit here and there. Maybe have my own Scarfer or something. But yeah, I think those two really work well together. Xatu has awesome momentum with Teleport and U-Turn, depending on what I kind of feel like. Get my Pinsir or my Darmanitan or my Hoopa in for free, or even Lele. Lele appreciates the momentum as well. Alright, last up, I got Lele and Dodrio. Lele, gotta bring back the Special Agent, the KGB, the Comatet, something like that. Yeah, as you can see from last season, like, it had like the highest KD in the league. It was super sick being able to use dual screens. It was a crazy Assault Vester, awesome Choice Scarfer, awesome Choice Specs. Like, I think it really does a lot, and it really helps out Darmanitan and Hoopa by preventing priority moves. It doesn't synergize super well with Pinsir, so I kind of have to be careful with like the weeks that I'm bringing them together. Maybe I have to run like Telepathy or something on Lele to let Pinsir use Quick Attacks. Maybe I only plan on using Quick Attack for things that are in the sky with Pinsir, so I can kind of get away with running Psychic Surge. But I think those are really fun, and I really like Lele paired with Dodrio too. Dodrio is my single favorite Z-move user in basically all of Pokemon, especially our tier 4. This thing is so cool. 110 base speed, 110 base attack. It gets Jump Kick for fighting coverage, obviously a super strong Brave Bird. It gets Return now because we're not playing Gen 8 movesets. And then I'm not gonna break down what my Z-move sort of stuff is with Dodrio, because I kind of want to just save that for when the time's needed. I don't know if I need a surprise factor or not with that, but it gets some really cool moves that appreciate the Z crystals. Also, all 3 of those attacking moves I just listed are also way better with Z crystals too. So a really fun one. Probably going to be like my dedicated Z move user whenever I bring it, just because it's so much fun. All right, so we're going to go to E. He was the first pick of the draft. Oh man, that took 10 minutes. I got to speed this up. Okay, Zeraora, fantastic first pick. Probably the class of the league in offensive pressure. Amazing coverage. Really just such a good Pokemon overall. I really like Gengar and Mamoswine. I think those two are a really good combo with how hard they're hitting. Zeraora providing momentum for each of those. Mamoswine really appreciates the momentum as well. Mamoswine can do a bunch of stuff too. With like, it adds a Stealth Rocker to his team. It gets Freeze Dry, so it can hit water types that might think they're safe, and then that breaks stuff down. You know, Absol doesn't really like breaking through water types that much. So the combination of like Zeraora and Mamoswine are really cool with that. Chestnut, one of the best tier 3s for grass types, in my opinion. I think Superior is my favorite grass type in tier 3, but Chestnut's a really, really cool option because of that physical bulk that it has off that 122 base defense. It gets Spiky Shield, it gets Synthesis. I think it gets Spikes. It could be wrong. Actually, I can check down here real quick. Hazards. Yep, it gets Spikes. Yeah, really, really sick. The Absol, I was talking to E about this, but the Absol pick I thought was really strong because he only had Altaria as a defogger on his team, and then he picked that up with his last pick, and it adds, you know, artificial hazard removal with Magic Bounce, but, you know, it's your Mega Pokemon. You generally want to bring that each week. You know, kind of built your teams around that, right? And Magic Bounce just fits onto every team super well. Primarina, this was always going to be my backup option if I did not get Slowking. I think that was one of the best tier 3 water types. It doesn't have active recovery, so it's a little bit tougher to continually use as a defensive check. But the 2 or 3 switch-ins that you do use it for, it is super effective with that. Has a really high special attack stat to scare stuff out afterwards. Really good Pokemon in general. Water and Fairy typing is just beautiful. That is just such a good typing. Now tier 4, E actually got 2 of my favorites out of tier 4 with Licky Licky and Hoopa. Unfortunately, I was not able to like find a good role for Licky Licky, and I really kind of committed to like getting Dodrio at the end. I think I would have taken Licky Licky had I not taken Dodrio. Really fat normal type. Fat normal types, man, they have the coverage of like better than anything else in the game. I think Licky Licky gets Wish. Let's go down here for Cleric. Yeah, Heal Bell and Wish, really, really cool. Gets Knockoff. Like, it's such a good support Pokemon in general. And then it also has Cloud9, which is really sick because every time it comes in, it's going to ignore the effects of weather. So those rain boosted like Vicious Wrens or Waterfalls off of a Swampert and Dracovish. Now they're still gonna hurt. Licky Licky is not like it's a, you know, impenetrable wall by any means, but Cloud9 is gonna help that out a lot. Otherwise, Shuckle, really cool tack onto this team with Sticky Webs, also another rocker, so Mamoswine doesn't have to run it every week, and you don't have to just rely on Spikes or something from Chestnut. Sticky Webs really works well with his team as too, because like Mamoswine and Hoopa in general really like that support. They hit extremely hard, but they generally get outsped by something, and they don't get to showcase that as much. So having Sticky Web support from Shuckle, I think, was a really good option here. Yeah, Altaria, I think, is really cool as a Z-move user in Tier 4. I don't love it as, like... It has, like, pretty mediocre stats across the board. It gets to do a lot of things. Just Dragon and Flying typing is tough in general with that 4x Ice weakness, and then now we're in a league with Hidden Power. You know, HP Ice might be coming off of a lot of stuff, but... overall, I think he made a really well-balanced offensive team. Defensively, it's going to be interesting to see how he kind of pivots in between things. But if he just keeps that foot on the gas pedal, it's going to be pretty tough to deal with. All right, Berg was up next in the draft. the second overall pick, and he took Dragapult. I mean, just round of applause, everybody. Well done, Berg. Well done. Fantastic pick. I was laughing during the draft because I thought maybe there was a chance that it came down and I was able to snag it at 7. I would have loved it. But yeah, really cool Pokemon. Physical and special attacker. Rapid spin blocker with the ghost type. Incredible speed tier. Actually, one of my favorite things to do with Dragapult is run a Choice Scarf on it, and then I can really throw a lot of my EVs into attack and special attack, and just enough speed where I'm faster than any other Scarfer that would be faster than a base 142 max speed Dragapult. So you can kind of do a lot of stuff with that. It's got Dragon Dance, it's got like a sub Hex Will-O-Wisp set, it can do dual screens, it's got momentum with U-turn. I mean, it's just such a good Pokemon. Infiltrator is one of the best abilities in the game. If you're running physical, you got Clear Body, so you can't get intimidated, you can't get slowed down by sticky webs. Like, just a super, super sick mon. And then Berg just kind of went down the line, which is really cool. And he took Mega Charizard X next. With this one, this is a very, very high skill Pokemon. So it's going to be interesting to see if Berg is able to, like, fully run it to its potential. The reason I say that is because Charizard with a Mega Stone means it cannot hold heavy duty boots. Now you're kind of stuck in a situation where you have to make sure that rocks are not up on your field before you switch it in before the Mega Evolution. And even after the Mega Evolution, it's taken 25%, so you don't really want to continually do that. But do not let that thing Dragon Dance on you. After Tough Claws, Flare Blitz, Dragon Claw, all that stuff, Thunder Punch, that is going to destroy some people. And you don't even have to Dragon Dance too. You could just run like a Flame Charge or something. If you get taunted, you can just get that, get your speed up, and now you're still hitting crazy hard. Scissor, really, really good synergy with Scissor on his team. Scissor is 4 times weak to fire, as we know. Charizard's 4 times resistant to fire. Dragapult also resists it. So really cool. You get momentum with it. You get hazard removal with it. I mean, this, I don't think there was a better second tier 2 with this tier 1 and 2. Like, this is like arguably one of the best cores that you could have made out of tier 1 and 2. It's just super, super well-rounded. Scissor's awesome. Especially not being Mega, you're open to use like a lot more items. You can run Choice Banded with Bullet Punch, Choice Scarf. You can run Choice Specs with Vacuum Wave to catch something. Like, I mean, it's got all sorts of options. Yeah, Scissor fits onto this team perfectly. Raikou, another momentum Pokemon. I said it was probably my favorite electric type in tier 3. Now that we have hidden powers, it gets hidden power ice. It still has Scald. Obviously super fast volt switches and stuff. Really, really cool Pokemon. Volcanion adds a water type onto this team. Really bulky water. I liked using it a lot last year. It has really, really cool coverage with like Sludge Wave, Earth Power. It's got Explosion. It's another defogger for this team. Really good addition. Wheezing, another defogger on this team. So Berg is really making sure that he's keeping the hazards off, which I love. Adds a good physical wall to his team. Really cool abilities as well. You never know when you're prepping for it if it's going to be Levitate or Neutralizing Gas. Levitate is going to synergize pretty well with his team since he does have Volcanion and Raikou and Charizard after it Mega Evolves that are going to be weak to ground types. But maybe teching Neutralizing Gas on there or something is going to be useful in a certain situation. Cursola, really, I think it's the highest special attack other than Hoopa in tier 4 at 145. Really cool Pokemon. I don't know if anything on his team gets Trick Room, but a really strong Trick Room user. I mean, Cursola might get it itself. But then you can do some cool stuff with Weak Armor or Perish Body as well. This with like a Never Ending Nightmare is going to hit crazy strong. Frostlass, I love this pick. Adds a really good speed tier onto his team. Because as you see here, he's got 142 with Dragapult, 100 with Charizard, 115 with Raikou, and now you got another 110 right here with Frostlass. Really well-balanced speed tiers on Berg's end. Very well played with that. Gastrodon, actually a really cool pickup as well. I don't know if Berg intentionally did this, but with Scissor being 4 times weak to fire, people are going to now have to decide, do I want to run Hidden Power Grass for the Gastrodon, or do I want to run Hidden Power Fire for Scizor? And that kind of limits team building a little bit and pigeonholes some stuff. So a really cool addition onto this team. The only thing I'm really looking at on Berg's team that I wish he took instead of Regidrago as his last pick is a Stealth Rock user. He does have spikes with Frostlass, but I want to say... Oh, Cursola gets Stealth Rocks. Oh my gosh, he's set. Okay, I was going to say he just had Toxic Spikes with Weezing otherwise, so... Okay, well, he does have a Rocker with Cursola. This team is actually a lot better than I thought it was originally. That was, like, the biggest clearing weakness, and it looks like he's good on that end, so... Yeah, Regidrago, really cool. You just kind of throw a Choice Scarf on that thing and let it cook, right? You got Scizor to deal with Fairy types, blow it open. Volcanion can do the same thing. Charizard doesn't mind Fairy types at all either, so Regidrago could kind of cook. Really, really well done, Berg. You know, that was really solid. All right, try to keep the pace going here. All right, we got the Rain team, MJC. I love this team a lot. I think we're all kind of stupid for letting him get Politoed and Dracovish. Yeah, not really anything else I can say about that. Water-boosted Vicious Wren speaks for itself. You know, nobody has Toxapex either to get O-code by it. Yeah, really, really cool Pokemon. I think with his Kabutops pickup at the end of the draft, Kabutops, I believe, gets Sandstorm. So he does have an ability to run Dual Weather and run Sand Rush on Dracovish as well. So I wouldn't always just assume that if you're running something that's Scarfed faster than base 75 to be faster than the Scarfed Dracovish, that you actually are faster, because he could put up the Sand and now you're screwed. Sand works really well with Maker Swampert as well. Chansey, he took first overall off the board, and I think that shocked a lot of people. I used to run this team back in Gen 7 that was literally just called Chansey Offense. It was Chansey and then 5 demons. And basically anytime a demon had a bad matchup, I would just pivot into Chansey, it would eat whatever hit, and then I would pivot back into something else that would be able to pressure what's in front of Chansey. So like, Chansey can kind of do that on this team, especially with the speed tiers that he has, because a lot of things are going to get outsped. He doesn't have a single Pokemon that's over 100 base speed. Now, Swampert with Swift Swim, obviously a different story. Same with Kabutops and Ludicolo. Like, he has artificial fast speed tiers, so like, it really isn't the end of the world on that end. But yeah, Chansey's just a beautiful pivot to get in between some of these slower Pokemon that then can come in and just completely nuke something. So I really don't think it was necessarily a bad pick. He just had to build around it, and I think he did a good job with that. If we look at our type weaknesses, like he just did such a good job building up resistances. He's only double weak to grass, and that's because he has 3 Pokemon that are 4 times weak to it. But if he keeps like Heracross and Togedemaru healthy, those synergize really well with the rest of his team. But overall, defensively, he really covered all of his bases. So really, really strong draft by Matt. I know he's really excited to be running Weather. I'm excited to see what he ends up pulling off with it. I think it's going to be really tough to play against. That's almost exclusively why I got the Comfy. And yeah, hopefully that's enough for me to be able to deal with him. Alright, going on to Tyler now. He went with Mega Lopunny. That is a Pokemon, so right as we started kind of breaking down the tiers and everything, Tyler texted me because he didn't really know what Megas he wanted or what they did or whatever, and he was like, what Mega do you think kind of fits my playstyle the most? And I told him, like, immediately, Mega Lopunny. I mean, that just, based off of his team last season, Mega Lopunny seems like something that's right in his pocket. So he went with his first pick with that, and then synergized it really well with Kyurem right afterwards. It's a really good top tier core. Yeah, really crazy offensive pressure between the two of them. Kyurem can be either physical or special as well. I think overall, once we got to like rounds like 3, 4, 5, he kind of started losing his shape of like what he was like envisioning on his team. But he was able to do a couple cool things where he got momentum with Electros and Fortress. Azelf, obviously, like we saw what MJC used Azelf to do last season. His team, Tyler's team here, does benefit pretty heavily from like a suicide lead. because then you can just get into like Lopunny or Kyurem or Mimikyu or something, and then just start blowing people up. You can even run like Sword Stance Gliscor, really strong as well. Yeah, and he also did the thing where he has 2 Pokemon that have 4 times weaknesses. You got Gliscor with the ice and Fortress with the fire, so it does make people kind of think before they put a hidden power onto whatever Pokemon they think they're going to try to check you with. He went with 2 not fully evolved Pokemon with Haunter and Tangela at the end. I really like both of those picks. I think overall, like, what he was looking for is something that can kind of like bust through like fairy types, and Haunter's pretty strong, being able to be a Z move user and put like an acid downpour on somebody. Tangela's a really strong defensive pivot. It has 115 base defense, and after Eviolite, it's actually fatter than Tangrowth. It suffers a little bit from not having the coverage that Tangrowth has, but it kind of makes up for that because you don't get locked into running Assault Vest. You get the Eviolite, which does exactly the same thing, and then you get to run like Leech Seed or like a Powder move. You have a lot of like supporting options with Tangela now that you're not just pigeonholed into 4 attacks if you wanted to run Assault Vest. Yeah, Electros, really good electric type. I think this is the 2nd best electric type in tier 4 behind Jolteon, specifically for its coverage. Like, you throw an Assault Vest on there and you always have 4 coverage moves that you like on it. Really strong Pokemon, gives you the momentum that you really want. Gliscor gives you momentum. I mean, just based off the team archetype here, it really just looks like it's get into Lopunny or get into Kyurem and just wreck havoc. And that's going to be tough to defend against, right? Because you start getting broken down on one of your defensive walls, and now the next Pokemon that comes in is able to clean you up. So I think he's going to be able to work with that pretty well. I like the draft overall, even though it wasn't something that he was planning on doing. I think he was able to kind of like salvage some pieces here and there. So we'll see what sort of transactions are made. Maybe nothing this week. See how everything plays first, and kind of go from there. All right, we got Joe up next, picking 5th. Joe apparently had the perfect draft. He kind of set up a team where it was like Aerodactyl, Ferrothorn, Flygon, Jellicent, Rotom Heat. I think those were the core 5 that he was running, and then he was kind of like piecing some other stuff onto there, and he got all of them that he wanted. Yeah, so like this one, this was Joe's perfect draft, essentially. I'm interested to see how he uses it. I think Ferrothorn and Arrow are a really cool combo as well. He got Mew as his last pick, and he can just throw Mew in to do whatever he needs. Oh, I need something offensive this week. Let me just throw up a Nasty Plot substitute Mew, and now I'm cooking. Oh, you need... maybe I don't want to bring Ferrothorn, but I need a Rocker. I'm going to throw Rocks on Mew. Now I got a defensive pivot. Like, Mew can obviously do everything. It's Mew. So it just is never a bad pick. I personally didn't want it this season because I didn't want to prep as much, meaning I didn't want to figure out what sort of Mew set I wanted to use each week. That I feel like that would have taken forever. Avalugg, really fun ice type. It's my 2nd favorite ice type in tier 4 behind Cryogonal, but it's a really cool rapid spinner. It's like the physical version of Cryogonal with the 184 base defense, just absolute unit on the defensive end. It has active recovery with recover. It's got rapid spin, body press coming off of that 184 is going to hit like crazy. Really solid Pokemon choice. Adds another rapid spinner onto his team, so you don't have to run like Defog or something on Mew. You don't have to run Defog on Flygon every time, or even Rotom. Like, you have really solid hazard control with Avalugg. Plus, Avalanche is a pretty fun Ice-type move to use. Since it's so slow, you're probably getting hit. You throw off an Avalanche off a 117 base attack, that's hitting crazy. Carbink, another rocker for his team. Super defensive utility Pokemon. You can run like Trick Room with it, which his team probably benefits from. Its average speed is 69. Nice. Which is, I think, the slowest team in the league, which, I mean, it makes sense. It's... If you look at everything with the exception of Mega Aerodactyl, everything is 100 base speed or lower, and then you take out Mew and Flygon, now you're looking at everything being 86 base speed or lower. So like his team is exceptionally slow, which would benefit from Trick Room for sure. So he's kind of getting a pattern these last 2 seasons with drafting pretty slow teams. But you know, if that's a style he's comfortable with, I think it works really well. Ditto, fantastic pick. He was the first tier 4 off the board for good reason. Joe basically just drafted an extra tier 1. You know, if he wants to go in and copy, you know, Mega Lopunny or something, well, now he has a Mega Lopunny on his team. Really, really cool utility each match. Be able to scout like sets from Pokemon. You just come in, you see what their moves are. If you don't like it, you can just hard switch out or whatever, but now you know exactly what that Pokemon could be using. Also really discourages setting up against him. Now, a lot of people I don't think are going to be setting up a lot of speed boosts against Joe. That seems pretty unnecessary, unless you're really, really scared about that Mega Aerodactyl and you have to get something over 438 speed. Okay, maybe. But in general, people are probably going to be running like a lot of sword stances or nasty plots or something to get faster than him. And Ditto can kind of just be like, all right, do that all day. I'm just going to switch in and take it. And then with like a choice scarf, I'm a better version of you now. Because if you're setting up, you're probably, I'd hope not, choice locked into something. But yeah, I really like Joe's team. I think it's super, super fat. I mean, look at this, 116 average base defense and 96 average base special defense. That's just incredible. It's going to be really bulky. And that's why Ditto fits really well, because you want to break through these defensive things by setting up in front of them and then punching a hole. And then as soon as you break through one, Ditto just comes in and then sweeps you. So you got to be super careful with that. All right, we're going to move on to Dodge next. All right, so I was getting roasted last night because I kept saying interesting or ooh, kind of getting excited by what he was taking, even though all of these picks were completely random. The reason I say that, and I am still justified in saying that, let me defend myself real quick. He got some really cool synergies. Azumarill and Garchomp, fantastic combo. Indeedee and Deoxys, even better combo. Indeedee and Meloetta, amazing pairing. Cryogonal, my favorite ice type in tier 4. Like, Whirlipede, actually, I really, really like. You throw in a Violite on there, now you have a really cool Toxic Spiker that has momentum. You know, it's a poison type, so you always have Toxic that is never going to miss. Like, Whirlipede really does a whole lot for him. If he wanted to try to do some sort of Sword Stance, Speed Boost, you know, sweeper with it, it technically could work still. It's actually a really solid pick. Alolan Persian, really cool. Technician, fantastic ability in this. I know you want to run like Fur Coat on an Alolan Persian, but Technician's sick because now your hidden powers, instead of being base 60, are now base 90. And that is really, really cool, because now basically you run like Hidden Power Fire on Persian, well, now you have Flamethrower. You run Hidden Power Bug on it, now you have Bug Buzz, right? Like, Technician ups the power of those hidden powers incredibly high, which is another thing that I was surprised that like Roserade didn't go out of tier 3, because it's a really solid grass type with Technician boosted hidden powers. Hidden Power Ice, for example, you got Ice Beam, right? So you have all this artificial coverage that gets boosted by Technician, and now you actually have legit coverage. Other than that, I mean, he's going to have to like really lock in and kind of like see how all this stuff really blends together. But he got a lot of really cool Pokemon. Mega Garchomp out of tier 2. I know some people were a little confused why that was lower than regular Garchomp. It's because it has a base 92 speed instead of base 102. So now a lot of ice types and things that can check it, other dragons, are faster than it, and that 92 base speed hurts. It can patch that up by running Scale Shot. At the sacrifice of lowering its defense one stage, it does get one stage speed raise with an attacking move. So Scale Shock definitely is a good option on Garchomp if you need that sort of speed. But I think he gets like Trick Room options as well with this. Obviously, he's running it back with the Azumarill. We know how scary that is after a Belly Drum. Really good synergy, though, with like Thick Fat and all the ice weaknesses he has with Garchomp and Zygarde. Yeah, I think overall, I mean, if we look at the typing here, he only ended up with 4 things that he was only a little bit weak to. Overall, like, all of his randomly generated Pokemon ended up synergizing really well. He even has like a 3x psychic resistance. He's just a little weak to Bug and Fairy, but yeah, I mean, Bug's not super common. You got U-turns and stuff, but I wouldn't have expected anything better. I would not be mad if he went with a waiver wire move in week 1 to get rid of Pikachu, but you know, if he's just rolling with the luck of the draw, I guess technically there are worse things to have. You can run a light ball on that, hit really hard. 90 base speed's not terrible. Yeah, his base speed total averages out to be 97 as well with this. I know Deoxys artificially inflates that a little bit, just being the one at 180, but he has 2 at 115, another 105, multiple in the 90s. I mean, overall, like, this is a pretty solidly built team, and he didn't even try. Alright, finally we're going to go to Tommy, and I saved this one for last, not only because he was the last draft pick, but I think he has the best team in the league. This was a masterclass of a draft. He has a Fire, Water, Grass core, alright? He has a fat normal type. Coco is arguably the best tier 1 in the game, and it fell to him at number 8. Zygarde I thought was the best tier 2 as well, and both of those paired together so insanely good. Like, it's just not even, it's not fair that you got those. And, you know, we're all saying, I'm saying that it's not fair, meanwhile all of us had a choice to possibly pick those ourselves. Like, anybody wasn't holding a gun to our heads, so whatever. Yeah, he did so well with this. Bisharp didn't get used last year, but in tier 3 is really good value, getting that Defiant ability, being able to scare away Intimidators. It scares away Sticky Webbers, because you'll just boost its attack by 2 stages. You also don't want to run other moves that could possibly lower stats into Bisharp, because then it could get boosted up and really start going crazy off that 125 base attack. You know, if he's running up against somebody who he thinks is going to be problematic with speed, he can run Trick Room off of Cresselia. Really fat pivot. It's kind of like Chansey Light in that sense. It doesn't get as good of recovery. Its stats obviously aren't as crazy good based off of the HP and everything, but you know, he has a grounded immunity now. He has a really solid Pokemon with that. Superior, amazing grass type out of tier 3. Contrary boosted Leaf Storms are just going to go crazy. Every time it uses Leaf Storm, instead of going down 2 stages on special attack, it goes up 2, so it gets stronger and stronger. And off of that 113 base speed, if you don't have a Choice Scarfer sitting around or some sort of priority to pick it off, you're going to be in a little bit of trouble. Zygarde, the reason I thought this was one of the best tier 2s, and Urshifu's also pretty high up there, he got such a solid tier 2 core, but Zygarde is really scary because it has Thousand Arrows, which is a ground type move that hits flying types, and then they lose their flying typing afterwards. It can coil, it can rest, and set up like substitutes and whatever and just never die. It has access to Glare, which can paralyze anything in the game other than electrics. It has extreme speed. You can run banded Thousand Arrows extreme speed, and that's all you really need. You know, every week you could do that and I would be like, yeah, that was a good set that you put on it. But you can be a lot more creative with Zygarde as well, and it has like Sludge Wave for fairy types. Just overall super strong Pokemon. Let's see what else that I want to talk about. Mega Steelix I think was the best tier 4 Mega. Really solid pickup down here. Perfect rocker for his team. You know, Miltank also a really good rocker. Cool speed tier. Not that you really want to use it offensively, but it's a really cool fit. It has Scrappy, it has Thick Vag, Sap Sipper. All 3 abilities are just incredible on a normal type. You can get artificial resistances to ice and fire with Thick Fat. You can hit ghost types with Body Slams with Scrappy. You can get an immunity to grass types with Sap Sipper. Like, Miltank does a lot. Probably, it's either this or Licky. Licky is the best normal types in tier 4. I think that's kind of a coin flip, but either way, you got to be happy with having one of those on your team. Poltegeist, really cool Shell Smasher off of that 134 base special attack and 70 base speed. Be able to get faster than most Scarfers in the game. And then yeah, hitting crazy hard off of that. Magmortar, really cool fire type. Not a great defensive core of the fire water grass. Kind of the same with the Urshifu. You don't really want to use that as your bulky water or anything. Not that it can't do it, but generally don't really want to. But the coverage that Magmortar gives is incredible. Like, generally you're going to be running like fire, fighting, ground, and rock-ish. Maybe some electric coverage, because it gets Thunderbolt as well. Really, really good Pokemon in general with all that coverage. But yeah, man, I really like Tommy's team. I think it is the best team in the league as of right now. I think it has also the highest base stat total in the league. You guys can see the averages if you go to the team page and then scroll down. It'll show you the averages of everything. Yeah, just he has so much offensive pressure. And then he still averages 109 and 90 on his defense and special defense throughout his team. So, Tommy, well done. Fantastic draft. I'm very proud of this one. That was really well done. So, all right, boys. Well, that's the draft breakdown. 40 minutes. That's not too bad. I didn't ramble too long. Give you guys something to fall asleep to and listen to. But yeah, let's get into our matchups. For week 1. We got Miami versus Chicago, week 1. We got Tyler versus Dodge. We got Berg versus E, and then we got Joe versus me. That's going to be a rematch of week 1 last season. So, yeah, good luck to everybody. Try to play your games in between Thursday and Saturday. Joe and I are going to have to play a little bit early because I have Army this weekend. I'm going to be up in the woods, not being able to play off my phone. And then Dodge might have to play on Sunday as well. He was telling me about that. So, like, we'll figure it all out. But, yeah, just try to keep on that, like, Thursday to Saturday schedule. The deadline, however, is Sunday. If you do not play by Sunday, I'll have to, like, award a victory to somebody. So, just try to get that done. Play early if you need to. Whatever. But yeah, have fun building those teams, boys. I'll catch you in the Discord. Peace.